Greetings, everyone. This is the Hipster Snek, and today I'm trying out the test Secrets of the Soul. I just happened to kind of stumble upon this on Steam, and it just looked interesting, so I'm doing it. That's literally my full history with this game. And I like that crazy, zany, ghost-looking guy, so I think this is going to be fun. Let's do it. Ooh. Shiny. Every angel has a demonic past, literally the opposite. Every demon has an angelic future, if one so wishes it to be the madman. It'd kind of be the opposite, theologically speaking. It's more that the demons were once angels. You know, I'm not getting into it. So, you find yourself in the inside of a desolate chapel in the throes of a midnight storm. The rain pelts the windows like falling stones. The wind rages on as the chapel doors tremble. Okay, it's a dark and stormy night. I can do that. Oh, nice touch. At a quick glance around the room, you hear a low, grizzled voice growl at you from the darkness, beckoning you in. Yeah, that sounds inviting. Hello, Wanderer. I'm Hipster Snek. It's a pleasure to find you here. Come in from the rain. Yeah, with a face like that. I mean, who wouldn't trust this guy instantly, am I right? Rest your weary bones, for we have much to talk about. It looks like the storm is going to last a while. Two words. Two different, separate words. Wanderer. Make yourself comfortable. Also... no. I don't think you'll be going anywhere for some time. Yeah, no, you got that much right. Why do I feel like this guy's wanting to mortis me? We should find something to pass the time, don't you think? Perhaps we should get acquainted with one another. I'd love to learn all about you. Okay. I'm sure your soul is full of stories, Wanderer. I bet you have delicious secrets deep inside, too. Yes, it's true. Pineapple on pizza is delicious. I have an idea. What's your idea, Watcher? I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to answer them for me very, very honestly. That way, I'll have the opportunity to get to know you. That sounds fun. I'm down. The real you. As opposed to the fake me? I don't know what to make of that. Now, don't you lie to me, Wanderer. No one likes a liar. In the end, I will tell you what I see. Deep, deep within your soul. Doesn't that sound like fun? You know, with the implied threat and the cherubic face this man possesses, I'm sure nothing bad will happen at all. Let's get started, shall we? Make yourself comfortable as we delve deep within your mind. We'll begin now. Do you know what the meaning of life is? I mean, that's somewhat subjective. The meaning of life is really, I think, up to individual interpretation, so I guess I could argue that I do know, but the point is, no one can know because it's up to the person. Do you believe beauty is ageless? In people or in things? There's lots of things that are ancient that are truly marvelous. And if you mean people, I mean, that varies person to person. But more importantly than that, I think true beauty really does come from within. A person's personality will do wonders. If someone's attractive and they're a snake, I'm not going to want to deal with them. It's a figurative snake. Let's not get carried away with our metaphors here. Do you believe a human being can produce something perfect? Again, this is one of those times where defining your terms really does matter. Like, you can create the perfect thing within a classification of things, I think. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, a master jeweler can create a ring that fundamentally there's no way he can think to improve upon, which would be his idea of perfection. So in that respect, yes, but there's no universally understood definition of perfect. This one's kind of complicated because, like, your definition really changes how this question can be answered. But I kind of get the tone of the question, so I'm just going to go with no. Do you believe inspiration can be created by oneself? It should be created by oneself. As someone who's a writer and suffers writer block on a daily basis, I think it's important that the creator try to create something without regard for, do I feel motivated to do so? They should ply their craft for the sake of plying their craft. And yeah, maybe you'll write a page and then immediately delete it, but at least you got something. You have some kind of start to something. And even if it's a scrapped first draft, that can at least get you closer to with a finished product. Would you say art is an integral part of life? Yes, actually. I think art is a very important part of life and one that is oftentimes underrated. We live in an era now where it's all about the hustle culture and how anytime you're having any kind of movie marathon or something, people will lecture you about, oh, you're not getting the most for your time because you're not making money. And making money is a part of life. Work is a part of life. But I think it's really unfair to say that entertainment is frivolous. I don't think it is. Without it, people would literally go crazy because they would only be focused on either the base elements of survival or whatever their job is. So, yes, absolutely yes. Would you consider yourself to be a talented individual? You have posed to me another question where the definition of your terms really does matter. Because, am I particularly, like, artistic? Not really. Structurally, I'm a bit of a minimalist, and I don't like things that are overly flashy. At least not in things that I'm creating. And even then, I think it varies. Like, I don't think I'm good at drawing, but, like, I like to think that my channel itself is something of a craft that I've honed over the past few years, so I think there's something to that. But at the same time, if I were to compare myself to someone who's way, way more advanced, like, I'm nowhere near, like, say, internet historians level of editing. That's not even a comparison. So I guess on the whole, no. Do you believe being beautiful is an advantage? Being physically beautiful? You're asking me some very broad questions, is kind of what I'm saying here. Okay, well, let's take this as shallow as possible, because I think that's what the implication here is. Do good-looking people have it easier? Broadly speaking, I would say yes. There's actually statistics to back this kind of thing up. I saw some very fascinating studies about the different types of names and comparison between men and women in job applications, for instance, and generally, yeah, there's pretty hard evidence that indicates that, yeah, it definitely is. Do you think you care more about your own appearance than others care about your appearance? That's a little bit of an awkward way to ask that question, but I get what you're saying. Do I care more than others about my appearance? I mean, it takes time to get this pompadour to stick directly into the air. And, you know, I want to always make sure my glasses look good. Gotta make sure my scales are nice and lined up, you know, it's important. This stuff is important. Now, do I care more than others? Maybe insofar as I think most people are willing to give others the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to look like a slob, but I'm not really vain about it. Yes, I guess. Do you believe that art can be judged? Sure. That is literally what my channel is all about. Art can and should be judged, but it's just good to understand that those judgments are just as subjective. There have been a couple times where I liked a game and other people are like, well, I didn't really like that game. And there are times where I didn't like a game and other people are like, well, I loved that game. What's wrong with you? So it's like, yeah, art can and should be judged. Just understand that your judgments can be judged just as easily because they're as subjective as the art is. Do you believe people should be judged? Morally? Or, like, aesthetically? I suppose to a certain extent the answer to both is yes. You don't want to go around looking like some kind of slovenly hobo. If you show up to a job interview and it looks like you haven't showered in the last 3 weeks, no one's going to hire you. And there's reasons for those determinations. You can argue it's shallow all you want, but there's reasons for those judgments, so yes. Do you believe there are certain things that exist that we cannot perceive with our senses? I do, actually. Now, I don't believe in ghosts, necessarily, but I am someone who does maintain the faith. I do believe in a higher power, that there is a God who watches over all things in creation and everyone in it. It doesn't make sense to me that there isn't. And I'm not trying to turn this into a theological exercise, I'm just trying to clarify my point. I'm literally in a church. It wouldn't exactly be good form for me to dance around the issue in the first place, especially after my Faith Let's Play. I think I made it abundantly clear that I'm at least a little studied on the topic, so yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Would you say that you often lack motivation? Have you seen my upload schedule recently? That's pretty obvious, don't you think? Yeah, no, yes. Do you believe originality exists? That's an interesting one. I was actually talking to Jitaku about this the other day. Because if you think about it, there really is nothing new under the sun. Most stories follow a template or a format or embrace themes and concepts that are at least known to pop culture, if not, like, widely celebrated. But at the same time, you can take something that's kind of hackneyed and cliched and put an interesting spin on it. And so I think in that respect, yes, I think there is. But you have to work to refine, you know, put the hammer to the anvil to refine the metal to get it to that point. But I'll say on the whole, yes. Do you believe your imagination has a limit? No, absolutely not. Imagination should be limitless because human creativity is what's gotten us this far. I mean, if you went back 2,000 years in time and asked, hey, wouldn't it be great if you could control the temperature inside your house? They'd be like, yeah, that'd be great, but, like, there's nothing that can do it, apart from, like, lighting a fire in the stove or something like that, but you can't cool it. So it's like, no, there is no limit, and it's only getting broader and broader. Do you believe insanity is key to being a genius? There's an argument to be made for this. I've heard it said that insanity and genius is a fine line, and also between that of depression and comedic genius. I'm not sure if it's the key, but I think it could be a key, because it forces you, or rather causes you, to think about things in an abstract way, or perhaps changes the way your lateral thinking works. I think there's something to be said for it, and being a genius itself could be a cause of madness, because it will completely change the way your social dynamics work. So, yeah, I think that's fair to say. Do we believe that one day the world will speak only one universal language? That's hard to say. If you want to get biblical about it, that is a prophecy foretold in the Old Testament that would herald the end of the world, so I suppose, yes, it will happen eventually. And we're also getting to the place where the world economy is more or less one huge autonomous entity. So, like, yeah, probably. Do you believe societies shape people? To some greater or lesser extent, yes. Society shapes people, and people shape society. Which is why norms are hard to change, but at the same time, they do change. So, yeah. Do we time erodes achievement? Yes and no. Like, history has a way of exaggerating certain things. If someone historically is viewed as a villain, then, typically speaking, history will continue to vilify them. If someone's viewed as a hero, history will tend to continue to lionize that individual. So, yes and no. In fact, I'm just going to say no, because I think on the whole, it's more just everything gets bigger, so it's actually kind of the opposite. Do you believe you possess free will? Yes, actually. I have no reason to doubt it. Just, yeah, simple answer this time. Do you believe you are a self-fulfilling prophecy? Some days. Some days, the answer to that is yes. But at the same time, like, on the whole, in general, I mean, not really. It can be, and it also kind of depends on the topic. On the whole, I'm going to go with no. Do you believe some problems cannot be solved? Well, yeah, I can already think of one at the cuff. There are several problems that, as science currently stands, we can't answer, and maybe in 50, 100, or 500 years we'll figure it out later, but some problems, as they are now, can't. Both practical ones, like engineering problems. Like, how can we make solar panels more efficient? And so that they don't have such short shelf lives, or like where does an electron go when it moves between point A and point B? So like, yeah, I think it's safe to say that's probably true. Do you believe in the existence of karma? Not really. A lot of the time, bad people get away with bad things, and good people are unrewarded for good things. Is it sometimes the case where it'll catch up to you? Yes, but on the whole, I don't think so. Do you believe you can accurately measure a person's success in life? That reminds me of actually the song from Prince of Egypt, the song Through Heaven's Eyes, where it actually asks the question, how can you measure the worth of a man in wealth or strength or size? Someone can be rich but be insanely depressed and unhappy with the circumstances. Just because they have something that you want does not necessarily mean that they're happy and satisfied. What looks like success to you may be misery to someone else, especially because success must be sustained. So I'm going to say no. You don't know what's in a person's heart, not unless they deeply, truly open up to you. Have you achieved everything you want to achieve? I have not, actually. I'm still working on that. And I'm kind of an old man, but I've still got a few years ahead of me, I'd like to think. Have you experienced a miracle? That one's a little bit hard to quantify. I mean, this is, again, define our terms here. Have I ever had one huge miraculous moment where the stars aligned and everything that was unlikely happened? No, not necessarily, which is probably what you're actually asking. But I think life itself is a miracle. The things that we are and the things that we'll see and experience in life are little miracles in their own right. And I don't think you should take that for granted necessarily. Would you say you dream often? Yes, actually I'm a lucid dreamer. I sleep kind of shallow, so I'm actually consciously aware when I'm dreaming, so I oftentimes wake up with full memory of what I was dreaming about. And if you mean that in the more, pretty sense, yes, I'm a daydreamer. Would you say you're plagued with nightmares? No, actually, because if you mean literal nightmares, here's what being a lucid dreamer will do for you. I've learned to take control of nightmare scenarios and turn them completely around, and usually they'll end up being really stupid and goofy. So, no. Are you sometimes afraid of yourself? That's interesting. I kind of get the question, but at the same time, not really, no. Do you believe in impact on this world? I mean, I'd like to think so. I've made really incredible friends, and this channel itself is going to be my legacy, my digital footprint in this world when I'm long gone. I think people overstate what an impact in this world can end up meaning. But I think if you're doing the best that you can with what you have, then yeah, you absolutely are doing precisely that. You don't need to be, #1 in the history books in order to change someone's life for the better. So yeah, absolutely. Would you consider yourself to be a rational individual? On the whole, yeah, I'm generally more rational than emotional. Do you believe you always have full control of your own actions? Yeah, actually I do. I'm not the sort of person who loses myself to the heat of the moment, no matter what the situation is. You believe everything in life has a purpose? On the whole, yes. But you consider yourself to be a fearful person? Afraid of, getting hurt? Or, again, broad question. On the whole, no. I think I'm fairly optimistic in that respect. Do you have many regrets in life? I have a few, but then again, too few to mention. Do you feel like anything is holding you back in life? The YouTube algorithm. Have you ever been heartbroken? Sure, we all have been. Have you ever broken someone else's heart? No comment. Do you believe in destiny? Not really, no. Do you believe the future is unpredictable? Within the confines of a pattern-seeking brain, I think that certain things can be predicted. But at the same time, it's a matter of the further out into the future you're trying to forecast, the more variables enter into the equation. So, broadly, yes. More of the future is unknown than is known. Do you believe all things in life are connected in some way? Yeah, absolutely. Would you consider yourself to be a prideful person? This is a hard question to answer because, like, if you say yes, you're just self-aware of your own vanity. But if you say no, are you just being prideful in your own humility? Like, on the whole, I don't think my arrogance has ever set me up for a fall, so I guess I'll go with no. Do you consider yourself to be a vindictive person? Not really. I can get torqued up kind of quickly, but I calm down just as fast. Do you consider yourself to be a loving person? On the whole? That's hard to answer. Everyone's relationships depend on the context of the relationship. Family relationships are going to be different from friendships, and that's going to be different from romantic pursuits, and that's going to be different still from coworkers and other professional relationships. I guess on the whole, yes. You say you usually learn from your mistakes the first time around. Wish I did, but typically no. Do you think that true equality exists in this world? I do, but I have kind of a macabre view on it. The truth of the matter is, humans are always going to have some kind of prejudice because the human brain is wired for shortcuts. And as long as that continues to be the case, then yeah, there's going to be weird, stupid inequities. And even if they're completely arbitrary, I don't even mean big judgments. I mean stupid little things like Steve. Nah, Steve's a jerk. I'm not going to be nice to that guy. But you know, Kevin's cool. I'm going to be cool to Kevin. But if you get right down to it, in the face of extinction, all men become equals. So yeah, in that respect. You always treat everyone you meet fairly. I try to, yes. Do you believe you've always been treated fairly? Not 100% of the time. On the whole, yes, but there have been times. Do you believe you can escape change? Nope. Change is one of those universal constants. You ever prolong a simple task knowing you ought to get taken care of? You haven't seen my upload schedule, have you? Do you believe the end always justifies the means? No, can't say that I do. You ever use harsh words in speaking to others? I try not to. I try to be tactful at the very least, professional. Do you consider yourself to be a resentful person? Not really. If I don't like someone, I'll just avoid them. You're putting your best effort into shaping life the way you want it. I could be doing better, I'll be honest. You're working harder on my channel, for instance. I believe you made many mistakes. Yeah, but who hasn't? Are you willing to try anything once? Within reason, if it's legal and doesn't immediately threaten my, continued existence on this earth, sure. You have a pretty good understanding of who you are as a person. I think so. Have you ever felt like life may not be worth living? I felt like that once. In the past. Well, okay, many times in the past, but I'm to the point now where I've come to a certain level of acceptance that that's really not a healthy way to view things, and if you ever think that, please seek help, talk to somebody, find out what resources are available in your area, because, I guarantee you that 99.9% of the people you've ever met in your life would rather hear your story than have to attend your funeral. Have I ever felt like... Well, yes, that I have. Your best friend was dying, and you were the only one who knew. Would you tell them the truth about their condition? That's actually eerily true to life, given something that actually has happened to me. Though he ultimately was the one who told me, and ultimately it worked out pretty good. But yeah, I'd be honest. They need to know. That is a tough question. I'm about to blank that word out, I think. I don't know if we're far enough into the video for YouTube to notice that. So, I totally get the arguments for it. But I believe that medical breakthroughs and miracles happen all the time. I believe that you really should fight to the very last. Because if there's even the faintest 0.001% chance of hope, you should take the chance and go for it, And I mean, I guess there are situations that would be so beyond the pale that there's just nothing that you can even begin to hope to do. But generally speaking, I'm saying no. Have you ever wanted to live forever? Yeah, who hasn't? Get the chance to learn stuff, like forever. You ever questioned why you exist? Yeah, sure, lots of times. I get existential. Do you believe your life has value? Yes, I believe life itself is intrinsically valuable. The very concept of being alive, even though we didn't ask for it, is a low-wheeled miracle. The fact that you're you, the fact that you're you watching this video, hearing me say this right now, you're your own unique individual, and you have potential to do amazing and great things, and you absolutely should. And even if that amazing or great thing seems mundane on the surface, you should do it and do it well. Things done with the gusto of someone who wants to learn and become better at their craft, whatever that craft ends up being, be it their job, their hobbies, or their relationships, that is indicative of the value of the human life, and people should never, ever underestimate that. Have you doubted your own existence? Have I gotten existential to the point where I believe I don't exist? No, I can't say I've gotten to that point. I don't even know what to say to that. Do you consider yourself to be defective? In many ways, yes, but joking aside, like, on the whole, I'm functional. I could be better if I put more effort into it, and I should. But, like, on the whole, no. Do you believe good can exist without evil as a contrast? That's an interesting philosophical question. I believe it can, but at the same time, understanding of evil, I think, is important to understand just how amazing that state of being can actually be. And again, I'm getting a little theological here, but I do believe there will come a day when there won't be evil, that there will only be a good condition, but we'll have an understanding of evil as a result of our existence as humans on a flawed Earth. So, I mean, yes, I believe so. Do you ever felt you're placed here for a greater purpose than which you serve? Yes, but I'm not really going to get into that right now. Do you consider yourself a violent person? No, I am the biggest wuss you will ever meet. Would you consider yourself to have a dark mind? Would you consider yourself to have a dark mind? That's a really weird way to phrase that. Not really. Even when I think an idea is kind of dark or macabre, I'm oftentimes surprised at how reserved my imagination actually is. Consider laughter to be the best medicine in most cases. Absolutely. Have you ever loved someone who did not love you in return? Yes, that has happened. Do you ever wish to be loved by all? Not romantically, but, like, that is kind of the end goal of anyone who wants to be a YouTuber, so I suppose. Do you believe you can still be a happy life if you are hated by all? That is really interesting. On the whole, I'd say no. The lone wolf is the wolf who was rejected from the pack. No one's an island, and if literally every human being on the earth turned against you, that would probably drive someone to madness. That was the entire point of Live Alive. Are you initially afraid of letting others get close to you for any reason? Yeah, I do have those reservations. Do you have any nervous tics or anxious quirks that you know of? I know that when I get upset, I grind my fingernails together. Don't ask how I do that without hands, but I do that. You a fan of thunderstorms? I am. Cute. I love them. Are you able to find peace among chaos? Usually. Do you believe you have peace in your life at this very moment? On the whole, this is probably the best my life's been in a couple of years. The last 2 years-ish was unnecessarily rough. And part of it was my fault, and part of it was unavoidable, but on the whole, I'm in a much better place now. You ever feared that perhaps you have a grim future? Who doesn't worry about that? Like, things can go wrong for any reason at any second, and you're just kind of left there to pick up the pieces if that happens. It's like, yeah. Have you ever been overwhelmed with a sense of dread or impending doom? Yeah, I think that's happened once or twice for varying reasons when they do. Do you say you have many friends? I don't. But the friends that I do have, I know are friends that I can trust in my very life. Do you say you have many enemies? I don't think I call anyone my enemy. There are people that I disagree with, and I think that's perfectly fine. But I don't think I call anyone enemy, per se. Have you ever trusted someone entirely without question? Absolutely. Do you believe that you're destined to be a hero? No. Do you believe sometimes you're destined to be a villain? No, I don't think I'm destined to be a hero, but I'm sure not destined to be a villain. I'm not cut out to be a villain. If you had superhuman powers, would you use them exclusively for good? I would try. Yeah, I think I would. You find beauty in those who cannot find beauty in themselves. Yes, absolutely. I think sometimes we are both the best and worst judge of ourselves. Do you ever have difficulty finding beauty within yourself? Yeah. Do you believe that sometimes suffering is a necessary part of life? No, pain is mandatory, suffering is optional. Do you ever cause someone to suffer unnecessarily? Not to my knowledge. Have I? Do you believe that torture is ever justified? That depends on what we're talking about here. I mean, in war times, anything goes, but, like, I'm not talking about stuffing bamboo shoots under fingernails. I'm talking, like, you can use advanced interrogation techniques without, like, shattering bones, you know? There's a certain level of severity, I would think, and it would also depend on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Like, this sounds like a really bad, like, I'm trying to justify this, like, out loud, that sounds awful, but I think there's a certain context where that would actually make perfect sense. And I'm sorry if that sounds macabre, and you can berate me in the comments all you want, but I'm just saying, if there's a wartime operation, and it's like one dude's kneecaps or my, you know, entire countrymen's safety on the line, yeah, there's going to be a time where it's justified. You ever felt like life is torturing you? That was the last, you know, like I said, the last few years were unnecessarily tough. Do you believe that war is necessary for peace? To a certain extent, the answer is yes, but at the same time, like, a lot of wars completely unnecessary. But the truth of the matter is, you need to be able to conduct war in order to facilitate peace. If you're incapable of hurting anything, you're not a pacifist. You're just weak. You find violence to be entertaining. Like, okay, there's a difference between enjoying a kung fu flick and actually wanting to hurt someone. Do you believe that morality can be taught? Absolutely. Morality is pretty straightforward, and you can argue all you want about, what if you did a good thing, and it led to a bad thing? Well, guess what? You still did a good thing, and that doesn't make the good thing any less good. You're just trying to relativize it, which is a very humanist way of thinking. Do you believe that success is always a good thing? Not necessarily. Sometimes people strive for success in fields that will only bring them misery. And also, success needs to be maintained. That will drive some people completely batty. If you get away with breaking any laws you want to, would you want to walk around doing anything and everything you wanted? That's a really weird way to phrase the question. If I wanted to do it, I would do it. But, like, I get what you're actually asking. It's like, would you violate moral principle and all this other stuff? But the honest answer is no. My actual, like, fantasy, my power fantasy is, like, helping people and trying to do the right thing. Like, I wouldn't want to hurt people or steal stuff. That's not okay. Would you say that you always know right from wrong when making decisions in life? A lot of the times in life, I would say more often than not, it's not a matter of doing the right thing or doing a wrong thing. It's a matter of doing the right thing or walking away from it and doing the easy thing. Do you consider yourself to be an excellent judge of character? My gut instinct is usually spot on about people. Are you good at telling when someone is lying? Not really. I'm actually kind of trusting in that respect. It's gotten me hurt a few times. Do you consider yourself a talented liar? Ha! No. Was that a lie? Was that the truth? You decide. Are you always honest with everyone you meet? I try to be. I try to be honest about everything. If I found a stray animal and bonded with it over the course of a year, only to be confronted by the owner a year later asking for the animal back, would you return it? That would be difficult. Like, where was the owner for a full year? Like, were they putting up wanted posters, or did they neglect the animal? I would have a really hard time doing that. Like, I gotta admit, like, I've had pets in my life, and I get attached. That would be really difficult for me. I'm not sure I would, I'll be honest. Do you often see the good in someone even when it isn't there? Yeah, I've had that happen. Do you believe the difference in good and evil is only a matter of opinion? No, that's childish and, again, very humanist levels of thinking. You can say, oh, well, at least I'm not, like, a murderer, therefore I'm comparatively good. That's not how this works. Be just or be dead. Do you believe that love is a weakness? No, love is the truest form of strength. Would you consider yourself to have fortunate luck? No. Would you consider yourself to be a merciful person? I mean, like, on the whole, I tend to let things go, and I don't, like, hold grudges. If that's your definition, then yeah, I guess. Do you believe that honesty is always the best policy? It is. Lies catch up to you. Have you ever broken an important promise even though you knew that you shouldn't? I have, actually. I guess I'll share this story. When I was a teenager, I was actually a student of theology, which is why I know about as much about the topic as I do, in case my faith LP wasn't obvious enough. During those years, I was really fascinated by theology and philosophy, and I got the idea in my head that I was going to become a minister. And I swore the oath before my church, where I went at the time, and basically my college screwed me over and my interests changed, and it's not that my faith ever waned. I didn't have a crisis of faith, I had a crisis of humanity. I don't really like being a counselor to people, like, on that level. On the level that it would be required to be this shepherd of men. And that became way, way, way too much for me. And to make an oath to God and break it is much worse than never making the oath in the first place. So that's actually part of why I actually related to John Ward as much as I did when I was doing my Let's Play of Faith, the Unholy Trinity. So, yeah, there's my confession for the video. Now you guys know. Do you believe that ignorance is bliss? No, it's literally the opposite. You ever wondered if life could be a test? I think it kind of is, in its own way. Life is something of a lesson, and what you take away from it is ultimately what's going to dictate who you are as a person. I find your answers very interesting, Wanderer. Okay, tell me what you think. I believe I got to know you so much better in such a short period of time. I'd like to thank you for allowing me the opportunity. It truly has been a pleasure. You haven't told me much about yourself, though. As a token of my gratitude, I'd like to bestow upon you a gift. This is a gift of insight, Wanderer. I will tell you what I see deep within you. That was the deal. Please listen carefully to my words, Wanderer, for they bear the weight of your soul. Do Sneks have souls? Debate here. I can see inside of you, Wanderer. It's mostly going to be pizza, I'm going to be honest. I can see things kept down deep. Yeah, pizza, and occasionally chocolate pudding. No one else can see them, but I surely can. The secret that you keep within, carved deep under your skin, the thing that you hold that no one knows, weighs so heavily upon your soul. That last one was a little bit of a forced rhyme, but okay. You wouldn't dare to let them out, for fear of judgment, disdain, and doubt. They grow within you like a cancer, creating questions with no answer. Doing better? Always longing for someone to come, whose grace and trust you may succumb. So lonely and lost that you must feel, so tiring it must be to conceal. Seeds within your mind do sprout, growing through bone and protruding out. Through your saddened eyes we see the echoes of your mind's misery. Let them blossom, let them bloom. The vines of doubt escape their tomb. Let your roots uplift and escape as your freedom begins to take shape. Secrets for all do keep, yet yours disturb you in your sleep. It has come time to embrace your fear and reveal what you hold so dear. Let go of your fears, Wanderer. Let go of your doubt. Your fear of abandonment, your fear of rejection, your fear of judgment. I don't actually fear judgment, I kind of just assume it's a given. They weigh you down. They hold you back. They suffocate you, and they will drown you in a sea of loneliness and despair. Allow yourself to finally be free. You deserve to be free. You think so, huh? Heed these words, Wanderer. They will help you on your journey forward, if you let them. I want to give you one more parting gift before I take my leave. A simple gift, if you will. One singular word. Okay, what's the word? That gifted word, Wanderer, is freedom. Remember this word moving forward, for it will help you in ways you couldn't possibly fathom. Trust me on that. And with that, I take my leave. Until next time, Wanderer. Thank you for playing this test, Secrets of the Soul. If you enjoyed these experience, please feel free to check out the Test Trilogy, Fate Weaver, and Alchemist's Quandary, The Advisor, and many of our other titles of a similar nature. I might. This was actually kind of fun. Please take the gifted word that was assigned to you at the end of your session and leave it in a comment for us. We'll be selecting some of you to be included in future projects we're currently working on. One of the projects included a title called Chasing Demons, which you can now add to your wishlist on Steam for future updates and see if you've been chosen to be in the game itself. If you do not wish to have your name in the credits or to be selected as a character, simply leave your gifted word out of the comments, and we will not select your name. We'll always read every comment we get. We promise you won't go unnoticed. Again, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you get some enjoyment from our projects. Okay, so, that was interesting. It kind of seemed like it was a bit of a personality test when I first looked at it. And if you guys are curious, I might give this a try, because, like, I'm actually kind of curious now. I'm kind of curious if that Watcher guy had, like, more going on behind the scenes, because he didn't really talk about himself very much. He was much more interested in me. Random. Nice. Like, he was asking some broad, but also some very... Some of them were kind of specific, and some of them were really, really, really generalized. But on the whole, I was intrigued. Like, he had... Like, some of them were silly. Like, the Thunderstorms one was clearly just kind of a setup to be a little bit of a joke. But, a lot of the rest of it, not as much. Like it was asking pretty serious questions about theology, philosophy, and how you relate to other people. So apparently, according to this game, which I don't know if this is scientific or if this is more narratively driven. According to this game, the thing I fear is abandonment, loneliness, and despair. And the keyword I got was freedom. This is one of those things I think is really fascinating, because I'd be really curious to know under the hood how this works, and what other kind of options there are to find. Or rather, what kind of endings, I suppose I should say. Like, because he started reciting the poem, and I was like, is this what he's trying to tell me, or is this something that, like, everyone will read as a preamble to the answer he gives me? I'd be curious to see. Leave a comment below. If you guys played this game, tell me what your hidden word was, because I'd be really curious to know. This was interesting, and you guys also seem to like it when I do games that make me actually stop and think about my point before I make it. So it's like I did Interrogation 051 or whatever it was, and you guys seem to really like that. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And that was interesting. It had that kind of macabre atmosphere, and I'm all about that. So if you want to see me do more games by these guys, let me know. And this is the Hipster Snek, and I'm signing off for now.